Pokemon Sword and Shield may be the most controversial title in the series so far. We've seen fans divided over changes that have come as a surprise or outright outrage to some and a non-issue to others. Heck, Game Freak themselves even decided to reply. Regardless, it is now October 2019 and we at Commonwealth Realm want to ask one simple question. Is Pokemon Sword and Shield now good? Hello everyone and welcome aboard, this is Leo here. As previously stated, we will be answering the question of whether or not Sword and Shield are going to be good entries into the Pokemon series. To do this, we'll be touching on a variety of areas that we feel are most important and add up to the big overall picture. After all, Pokemon games are not just about the Pokemon themselves, there are a variety of mechanics, gameplay, style, and other things to observe in any good Pokemon game. For now, let's start with the positives. First of all, the game is finally on a home console. Not any home console, but the Switch. This allows us to now have dedicated TV and handheld play. Whilst this may not be a feature per se, it is noteworthy as it means Pokemon is no longer just a handheld experience. True, spin-off games have appeared on consoles before, but never a fully fledged mainline title like this. You've got more ways of playing the game, whether on your big HD TV or just using the Switch's own display. Sure, it's not a massive change, but it is certainly a welcome one. Secondly, the wild area. It seems that for the longest time, Pokemon fans have been crying out for open world mechanics in Pokemon beyond simply just the main overworld. Now, we have an entire large space dedicated to this, featuring different weather being possible, lakes, grassy fields, and the like. This area is a trainer's dream for simply going out, getting lost, and catching some Pokemon. Not only this, but you can also go there to start max raid battles. This is another positive in and of itself. Allowing 4 trainers to battle against a wild Dynamax Pokemon, you'll be working together to take down the Pokemon for a chance to capture it. This sort of co-op play is another welcomed bonus, giving players another way of playing together outside of, say, the Battle Tree in Sun and Moon, and even that was limited to local play, double battles, and the rather unused Battle Royale. Moving on to our next positive, a big new feature of the game is of course Dynamaxing. We feel this is a positive as it adds another layer of strategy to battling with our Pokemon. What's important is that it's a temporary transformation, meaning you have to time it at the right point in the battle to get the most use. This prevents just using it as a lame one-hit kill type of mechanic, which could sometimes be the case with Z moves. We also just love seeing how funny it is to battle a giant Pikachu in the middle of a stadium, or worse, Dynamaxed Wailord. Memes aside, Dynamaxing is certainly going to change the competitive scene of Pokemon, that is for sure. Although, we would be doing the game a huge disservice if we did not mention the positive of just how great the Galar region actually looks. It's a perfect blend of the UK's rolling green fields, Scotland's mountainous highlands, and the industrial metropolitan aspects of cities like London being represented with landmarks like clock towers, cogs gears, Victorian-style buildings, etc. Although being from the UK myself, I can personally attest that, we don't have cogs and gears and giant structures like that in our cities, but regardless, it's a nice take on it. We do have clock towers though, those are a thing. For our final main positive of Sword and Shield, we'd like to just touch upon how in-depth character customization has become. No longer just customizing clothes, we can now even adjust and edit things like how thick our eyebrows are. That's a huge step above the previously limited customization offered by previous titles. I mean, just look at the character customization reveal trailer. These trainers don't even look the same, they look completely different with their own personality, style, everything. Judging by how wildly different and unique some of these trainers are looking, we're very happy that this title will allow us to truly express ourselves and make the trainer we've always wanted. Before we stop doing positives and move on to negatives, I also want to give some notable mentions to these features too. First of all, some of the amazing, hilarious, and downright cool Pokemon designs. I mean, seriously, a fish in a bird's mouth, a Corgi, and Sirfetch'd? I love these. Especially Galarian Wheezing. What a gentleman. I cannot wait to see more. Second, the cute camps that we can now make. These remind me a little bit of secret bases from Ruby and Sapphire. I'm sure it'll be very interesting just seeing how everyone sets up their own individual camp. I'm hoping we have furniture though, that would be nice. And finally, autosave. Don't worry though, it is optional. We actually just learnt about this today, at least when I wrote this video. Autosave has been absent from the series for the longest time, but now it's here. If you want to use it, great. However, a lot of older fans may not, so you can just disable it. We like having the option at least. However, with all of those great positives out of the way, we do need to now touch upon the negatives that we may weigh them all up and finally answer our question. So, why don't we start with the heaviest of them all? Upon learning that Sword and Shield will not include the full collection of all the Pokemon in the series and previous games, fans were very upset. and that really is putting it lightly. This was so big that it actually managed to unite the English-speaking world of Pokemon fans to the Japanese side. If you manage to upset the Japanese players, then you know it's going to be a big explosion of anger. Regardless, we do want to go on record here and state that we are personally disappointed with not having all of the Pokemon from previous games in Sword and Shield. We definitely think that it is possible for Game Freak to add them all in, but they may be constrained by time due to the release of the trading card game, Pokemon anime, etc. Plus, their decision to work on Little Town Hero at the same time as Sword and Shield may be stretching the studio thin. Pokemon is not just a game anymore, it is a franchise, the biggest media franchise of all time actually. So it goes without saying that when the main product, a game, releases, it has a variety of products to go along with it. We think this is the reason why Game Freak hasn't included all of the Pokemon into the game. Of course, we can only speculate. Some people may put it down to laziness on behalf of the developer, but this is simply unfair as we don't know the whole situation behind the scenes. We believe that this issue, whilst it is a big disappointment and a negative, it can be overlooked if it's not too widespread. That is to say, not too many Pokemon being removed. Maybe it's only a few, we just don't know. Whilst modelers have confirmed it would take minimal effort to add in Pokemon from previous games, this may not simply be all there is to the picture. Moving on to our second negative, it is definitely another one that fans were upset with. That is the animation quality of the Pokemon. And we've all seen the infamous Score Bunny double kick. And yes, we do agree, it doesn't look very good. We can't lie, it is very much about feeling or personality. This is compounded by the fact that Pokemon games from around a decade ago, like Pokemon Stadium, have battle animations, idle animations, and a whole lot more personality to the Pokemon as a whole. We don't really know why this is. The Switch has a lot of power under the hood that it seems Game Freak isn't really using. Is it down to time constraints again? No clue. Either way, we agree that the animations are lackluster, at least from what we've seen so far. We sincerely hope that Game Freak will, in future, make animations that really bring out the Pokemon to life and with their own little traits and quirks being shown. We want to see and feel the power of Blastoise shooting a Hydro Pump from its cannons, not just generically shot from in front of it, you know? We want to see Machoke throw some punches in the air, that kind of thing. However, having spoken of Game Freak not using the power potential of the Switch, we do need to acknowledge that Sword and Shield overall do genuinely look like just upscaled 3DS games. Come on, you have to admit it. We're not saying they look bad, but they just don't really seem to be the most innovative entries into the series from a visual perspective. When we imagined the first mainline Pokemon game on a home console, we imagined a lot more than this. With all the power that the Switch can offer, the most Pokemon has ever had available to it as a series, we are perplexed that more efforts had not been made to really innovate and push the boundaries of the game. Maybe they just wanted to play it safe. Either way, this was a big opportunity for the game to do some never before seen stuff, not just visually. Let's see if they have a few more surprises waiting for us, however. Contrary to this, another negative is that far from looking like a 3DS level game, the game actually at times looked even worse, Nintendo 64 levels. I mean, look at that tree. Sure, it is a tech demo, but these demos are supposed to show off the game. If they didn't polish it up knowing that it was meant to build hype, then I just don't know. I really hope the game is going to be a lot better polished and just overall better looking come release. I want to stress that graphics really aren't everything, but in 2019 we do have different expectations that we have to acknowledge when they aren't being met. Especially in a series as massive as Pokemon, there really wasn't much excuse for this. Finally, as our last negative, we feel that the lack of Mega Evolution and Z moves is particularly troubling. Not because we feel overly attached to them, but rather because it's going to set a dangerous precedent. Pokemon shouldn't have a new gimmick every game only to ditch it in the next title. If new mechanics like Z moves, Mega Evolution and Dynamaxing are going to exist, they should be there to stay, not just as a flash in the pan or a temporary firework. We like these ideas and we want them to stay, so why can't they? It does seem a little bit like Game Freak is backpedaling, almost as though they feel like they've made battling a bit too oversaturated with gimmicks. After all, Pokemon battles aren't as simple as they used to be. There's a lot of new mechanics that really do affect the overall scene. Now, with all of that out of the way, our final verdict. After weighing up the pros and cons as you've just seen and researching them accordingly, we feel like, yes, Sword and Shield are going to be good games. However, and this is a big however, we do acknowledge that good doesn't mean amazing or best in the series. We just think they'll be worth the asking price, so to speak. This is going to be a basic Pokemon game for some regular entertainment you'd expect from the series, just don't expect a lot of innovation, pushing of established boundaries, or anything like that. As we have noted, the game is Pokemon. It follows the formula, briefly adds some new features, and even takes some step backwards, which has definitely upset fans. It feels very 50-50, at least to us. All we can really do now is wait for a release where we will give our thoughts properly on the final result. That really is the fairest way to review the game, not on unpolished tech demos, but rather the final product. Also, before we close, I've got to say, why is the marketing for this game so weird? The live stream is a 24-hour stream of some mushrooms and occasional Pokemon. I'm not kidding, I really thought this was a prank or something, to be honest. Anyways, I guess this image is as exciting as we can make that stream. Enjoy the meme, enjoy the meme. Anyways, there you have it, the question is answered. We want to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon supporters for making these videos possible. Specifically, big thanks to our royal producers Kenyatta Ali and Bradley Carriage. If you like our video and want to support us more, why not head over to patreon.com/commonrealm and join the many others in supporting our content. Oh, and if you haven't already, be sure to press that subscribe button and notification bell on updates for our latest videos, and also help us on our way to 250,000 subscribers. We thank all of you so much for watching.